Have you ever wondered if parents should live with their children as they grow older? It's a question that touches on love, responsibility, and the delicate balance of family life. In today's video, we dive into the heartfelt story of Andy Young, a 62-year-old mother who moved in with her son and daughter-in-law after retirement, only to realize the harsh reality of her new life. Her journey of sacrifice, reflection, and ultimately, self-discovery holds valuable lessons for us all. Stay with us until the end as we explore why sometimes stepping back from our loved ones can bring us closer together, and how finding the right balance between closeness and distance is key to a truly harmonious family life. If you haven't yet subscribed, I highly recommend doing so and activating the notification bell to ensure you never miss a video. Your support means a lot to me as we continue to grow our community and reach more people with our content. If you enjoy the topic of this video, please leave a comment with the number 1. If it's not quite your cup of tea, drop a 0 in the comments. Your feedback is crucial in helping me create content that better serves you. Let's get started. Today I want to explore a question that has weighed heavily on the hearts of many families. Should parents live with their adult children as they grow older? It's a question that carries with it layers of emotional complexity, societal expectations, and personal experiences. To bring this question to life, let me share with you the story of Andy Young, a 62-year-old mother who has faced this dilemma firsthand. Andy, a woman of quiet strength, raised 2 children, a son and a daughter, with the love and devotion that only a mother can give. Her daughter is married and has embarked on her journey of building a family, while her son is establishing his life alongside his wife. After decades of hard work, Andy retired, looking forward to a period of peace and reflection. Her life had changed drastically over the years, particularly after the passing of her husband 10 years ago, a loss that left a profound void in her life. Since then, she had been living alone, managing her days with resilience and a quiet sense of purpose. Yet, as she approached her 60th year, retirement brought with it not only a cessation of work, but also the onset of a new kind of loneliness. Her son, noticing this, was filled with concern. He wanted to ensure that his mother was not left to face the solitude of old age without support. Out of love and a deep sense of filial duty, he extended an invitation for her to come and live with him and his wife. Andy was touched by her son's offer. She saw in it a reflection of the value she had instilled in her children: love, respect, and care for one another. It seemed to her like a beautiful gesture, a way to keep the family close-knit as she moved into the later stages of her life. With these thoughts in mind, Andy decided to move in with her son and his wife. She packed up her belongings, leaving behind the home that had been filled with memories of her late husband, and took a step into this new chapter. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Initially, the arrangement seemed to be working well. Her daughter-in-law welcomed her with open arms, creating an environment that felt warm and inviting. There was a mutual respect that flowed naturally between them. Her daughter-in-law would often greet her with a smile and kind words, making her feel comfortable in this new setting. She encouraged Andy to take care of herself, advising her not to overdo it with household chores. "You've done enough in your life, Mom," she would say. "Why not take this time to enjoy yourself? Go dancing, take long walks in the park, or spend time with the other aunties in the neighborhood. You deserve it." These words and gestures were sincere, and for a while Andy felt that she had made the right decision. She tried to find joy in her new routine, exploring the neighborhood, joining a dance class, and even engaging in casual conversations with other women of her age. Yet, as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Andy began to sense a subtle shift in the household dynamics. It wasn't something that could be easily pinpointed, but the warmth that had initially welcomed her started to cool. Living under the same roof, Andy found herself in a delicate balancing act. She was careful not to overstep boundaries, wanting to respect the space and privacy of her son and daughter-in-law. She contributed to the household in whatever way she could, but she couldn't shake the feeling that her presence was starting to become more of a burden than a blessing. Small things unspoken, yet deeply felt, began to build up. The occasional sigh from her daughter-in-law, the way her son seemed to be caught between his wife's expectations and his duty to his mother. All these tiny moments began to weigh heavily on Andy's heart. She started to realize that while the invitation to live with them had come from a place of love, the reality of sharing a home with her son's family was more complex than she had anticipated. Her daughter-in-law, despite her best efforts, seemed to be struggling with the new arrangement. Perhaps it was the pressure of having another person in the home, or the unspoken expectations that come with having a mother-in-law under the same roof. Whatever it was, Andy could feel the strain growing. After a year of living with her son and his wife, Andy made a decision that would surprise many. She quietly packed her bags, filled with a mix of emotions: gratitude, sadness, and a yearning for independence. Without making a fuss, she informed her son that she was moving back to her hometown. She didn't want to impose any longer and didn't want to risk the harmony of her son's marriage. She understood that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your family is to give them space. Returning to her own home was a bittersweet experience. The familiar walls, the echoes of her past life, and the solitude that once seemed daunting now offered her a sense of peace. She chose to live independently, reconnecting with old friends and rediscovering herself outside the role of a mother and a mother-in-law. Andy decided that she would no longer get involved in the daily lives of her son and his family. She would be there for them whenever they needed her, but she would do so from a distance, allowing them the freedom to live their lives without her shadow over them. Andy's story is not just about her decision to leave, it's about the complex emotions that accompany such choices. It's a reflection on the sacrifices parents make, not only in raising their children but also in stepping back when the time comes. Her journey reminds us that the question of whether parents should live with their children as they grow old is not a simple one. It's a deeply personal decision, influenced by love, respect, and the recognition that sometimes the best way to show you care is by letting go. But as time went on, the atmosphere in the house began to change in subtle but significant ways. My daughter-in-law, who initially encouraged me to relax and take it easy, started to ask more of me. What began as small requests to help with tidying up gradually evolved into a list of daily chores. First, it was just a bit of cleaning here and there, but soon I found myself responsible for cooking meals, doing laundry, and eventually taking on the full burden of managing the household and looking after their children. I had always believed that my son wanted me to embrace the freedom that retirement should bring, a time to unwind, to pursue the joys I had set aside for so long. But instead of the peaceful, leisurely days I had envisioned, I found myself slipping into the role of an unpaid maid. My days were consumed by endless tasks, leaving me exhausted and with little time or energy for anything else. The dream of a restful retirement was slipping through my fingers, replaced by the harsh reality of being overworked in a home that was not my own. Before I retired, I had so many dreams and plans for how I would spend this new chapter of my life. I imagined myself dancing freely in the town square, feeling the music move through me as I embraced the joy of each moment. I dreamed of raising a small dog, nurturing it with love and companionship. I wanted to cultivate a small garden where I could grow fresh vegetables and reconnect with the simple pleasures of life. I longed for the tranquility of my hometown, where I could meet old friends, share stories over a cup of tea, and savor the peace that comes with age. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. But the reality I faced was far from the peaceful retirement I had envisioned. Instead of living a life of joy and contentment, I was trapped in a cycle of unending work, catering to the needs of my son's family with no time left for myself. The days I had hoped to spend in quiet reflection and personal fulfillment were swallowed by the demands of others. The life I wanted to build for myself in retirement, full of warmth, friendship, and simple pleasures was overshadowed by a relentless routine that left me feeling more like a servant than a mother or a grandmother. The cruel twist of fate was hard to bear. I had worked all my life, with the hope that one day I would finally have the freedom to do as I pleased, to live for myself. But instead, I found myself once again giving everything I had, only this time, without the reward of knowing that it was for the benefit of my dreams. The bitter realization that my retirement had been hijacked by the very people I loved most was a heavy burden to carry. The life I had so carefully planned was now a distant dream, replaced by the harsh truth that sometimes, even the best intentions can lead to unintended heartache. One Saturday night, as I was scrubbing the kitchen floor, my son and daughter-in-law casually mentioned their plans for a 4-day vacation. They spoke about it with excitement, eagerly discussing the places they would visit and the things they would do. But what struck me was the complete lack of consideration for how I might feel about it. Without a second thought, they informed me that I would be left behind to care for the children, as if it were simply assumed that I would be available to handle everything. My heart sank, and a wave of anger surged through me. It was as though my feelings, my desires, and my need for rest didn't matter at all. All the responsibilities of running the household seemed to have fallen squarely on my shoulders. While they enjoyed their time together, creating memories and basking in each other's company, I was left to bear the weight of everything cooking, cleaning, and tending to the children. The inequality of it all gnawed at me. It wasn't just about the physical labor, it was the emotional toll of feeling unappreciated and taken for granted. Whenever I expressed a desire to visit friends or take a moment for myself, there was always an endless list of chores waiting for me. The unfairness of it all became too much to bear. Their lives seemed so comfortable, so carefree, while I toiled away in the background, my own needs and dreams pushed aside. For days I wrestled with my emotions, thinking about what my life had become. I had spent so many years giving to others, first to my husband, and then to my children. I had always put their needs before my own, believing that was what a good wife and mother did. But now, as I faced the reality of my situation, I realized that I had lost myself in the process. The life I had dreamed of in retirement, a life filled with joy, peace, and personal fulfillment, was slipping further and further away. I knew that if I didn't take a stand now, I might never reclaim it. After much contemplation, I made a decision that would change everything. I told my son that I needed to visit an old friend for a few days, and that they would have to manage on their own. It wasn't a request, it was a statement of fact. I had made up my mind that I needed to live for myself, to prioritize my happiness and well-being. My daughter-in-law didn't take it well. She was visibly upset, accusing me of shirking my responsibilities and abandoning them when they needed me. But I stood firm. This time I wasn't going to let guilt or obligation dictate my actions. They couldn't stop me, and I wasn't going to allow myself to be held back by their expectations. I returned to my hometown with a sense of liberation that I hadn't felt in years. For the first time in a long time, I began to live the retirement I had always dreamed of. Each day, I indulged in activities that brought me joy, whether it was dancing in the square, tending to my little garden, or simply enjoying a quiet afternoon with a book. I reconnected with old friends, and we spent hours reminiscing and sharing laughter over cups of tea. The fulfillment I felt was beyond anything I had experienced in recent years. It was as though I had finally come home to myself. In this new chapter of my life, I realized something important: I couldn't continue to sacrifice my happiness for the sake of others. I had already dedicated half my life to raising my son, guiding him through childhood, and helping him build a life of his own. But now it was time for him to stand on his own 2 feet, to take responsibility for his own family, without relying on me to shoulder the burdens. It was time for me to reclaim my life, to live for myself, and to savor the moments I had left. The freedom and peace I found in my decision were priceless. I no longer felt like a servant in my own life. Instead, I was finally the master of my destiny, making choices that brought me joy and contentment. The retirement I had envisioned was no longer just a distant dream, it was my reality. And in that reality, I found the fulfillment and happiness that had eluded me for so long. In the heart of the countryside, there's an old saying that has been passed down through generations: when the tree grows tall, it's time to divide the branches. This piece of wisdom, simple yet profound, captures the essence of a natural order that many rural families understand deeply. As children grow up, mature, and find their footing in the world, there comes a time when they must branch out on their own, leaving the familiar shelter of their parents' home. This isn't merely about achieving financial independence or building a career. It's about the deeper, more intangible aspects of life, about growing into one's person, establishing an identity, and perhaps most importantly, about love, respect, and filial piety that define the strength and happiness of a family. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. The idea of living together as one big family under the same roof may seem comforting to many elderly parents. The thought of having their children close by, of being able to share daily meals, and of receiving care as they age appears to promise a secure and peaceful old age. However, this ideal often overlooks the complex realities that come with multi-generational living. The very closeness that is sought can sometimes become a source of tension. What starts as a gesture of love and togetherness can evolve into a situation where small misunderstandings grow into larger conflicts, where the burdens of daily life can strain even the most loving relationships. Parents must recognize the importance of maintaining a healthy distance, both emotionally and physically, from their adult children. This distance doesn't signify a lack of love or support. On the contrary, it can enhance the relationship by allowing each person to retain their individuality, by preventing the day-to-day irritations that can occur when people are too closely intertwined. It's about creating a space where mutual respect can flourish, where the bonds of family can be cherished without the friction that constant proximity can sometimes cause. The balance between closeness and distance is delicate, but it is necessary for preserving the warmth and affection that make family life so special. Living too closely, without the necessary boundaries, can lead to a host of problems. For instance, parents might unintentionally impose their expectations or values on their children, leading to feelings of resentment. Children, in turn, may feel obligated to cater to their parents' needs at the expense of their own lives, creating a sense of suffocation rather than support. This isn't to say that families shouldn't help each other, far from it. But there's wisdom in the idea that sometimes the best way to love and support each other is from a respectful distance. By allowing space, we enable each other to grow, to thrive, and to find fulfillment in our own lives, while remaining connected through love and care. Singer Andy Lay, a voice that resonates with many, once shared a piece of advice that beautifully encapsulates the essence of familial duty: don't fixate on what your family has done for you or how they treat you. You must do your best to help them. These words speak to a fundamental truth about family relationships. It's easy to become caught up in the dynamics of give and take, to focus on what we feel we deserve or on how we believe we've been wronged. But true familial love transcends these concerns. It's not about keeping score or holding grudges. It's about understanding that our primary responsibility is to do our best for our family, to support them even when it's difficult, and to offer our help without expecting anything in return. As children, this means being patient and understanding with our parents, even when we feel they may not be treating us fairly. Parents, after all, are only human, with their flaws and limitations. They have sacrificed so much for us, and while they may not always express their love in the ways we desire, their intentions are usually rooted in care and concern. By choosing to focus on their intentions rather than their actions, and by striving to understand their perspective, we can maintain harmony within the family. But maintaining this harmony isn't always easy. It requires a willingness to forgive, to let go of past hurts, and to approach each situation with an open heart. It means recognizing that family bonds are irreplaceable and that they are worth preserving even in the face of challenges. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or allowing ourselves to be mistreated, but rather it means striving for a balance where love and respect guide our interactions. It means being magnanimous, choosing to see the best in our family members, and understanding that they, like us, are doing their best. The concept of family is deeply embedded in our cultural consciousness. It is often romanticized as a source of unending love and support, a sanctuary from the world's troubles. However, the reality of family life is more complex. It involves navigating a web of relationships that are often fraught with emotions, expectations, and unspoken rules. To achieve true harmony, each member of the family must be willing to put in the effort to understand, to compromise, and to love unconditionally. As we grow older, the dynamics within a family naturally shift. Parents age and become more reliant on their children, while children, now adults, may have their own families to care for. These shifts can lead to new challenges as roles are redefined and responsibilities are reassigned. It's during these times that the importance of balance becomes even more evident. Parents must allow their children the freedom to lead their own lives, to make their own decisions, and to raise their own families. Children, in turn, must remember the sacrifices their parents have made and be willing to offer their support and care as their parents grow older. Ultimately, the goal is to maintain a family dynamic that is healthy and fulfilling for everyone involved. This requires communication, empathy, and a willingness to adapt. It's about creating an environment where each person feels valued and respected, where love is freely given and received, and where the bonds of family are strengthened rather than strained by the challenges of life. In striving for this balance, we ensure that our families remain a source of joy and support, a foundation upon which we can all build happy and fulfilling lives. Let us all strive to cultivate harmony within our families by embracing these principles of love, respect, and understanding. Let us be mindful of the balance between closeness and distance, and let us remember that the bonds of family are both precious and fragile. By being open-hearted and magnanimous, we can create a family environment where everyone thrives, where love is the guiding force, and where the tree, no matter how tall it grows, always remains rooted in the soil of love and respect. As we come to the end of this discussion, I hope you've gained some valuable insights into the complex dynamics of family life, especially as we grow older and our roles within the family shift. We've explored the delicate balance between closeness and distance, the importance of love, respect, and understanding, and the wisdom in finding harmony within our families. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from this conversation? Is there a particular lesson or idea that resonated with you? Please share one thing you've learned and how you plan to put it into practice in your own life in the comments below. Your thoughts and experiences could help others navigate similar challenges in their families. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to leave a comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue to create content that inspires and uplifts. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to reading your insights.